Let us begin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Rockin' Beards podcast. It's your boy HSR.
What's up? It's Syd.
And I'm back. I'm Christen.
Yeah, so sorry for the disappearing act that transpired here. I fell off my bicycle and bumped my head and got concussed, and it prevented us from doing shit because I couldn't do anything.
But unlike Humpty Dumpty, the doctors could put him back together again.
Well, actually, sat in the hospital for hours, and then they're like, you could get scanned, but you really should go home and sleep and come back if whatever. Boom, ambulance bill just to get told to go home and recover. Beautiful times. But we are back here tonight. A little bit of housekeeping before we jump up into there. We have Patreon now, so thank you to Mozart. Mozart, our only Patreon at the moment. You can join the squad too, and by doing so, you can participate in the request raffle where everyone in that tier on the Patreon gets to throw up a request, and then once a month, the first Thursday of the month, I'm going to go live. We're going to pick one of those requests randomly. So if none of you join him, you're basically giving Mozart a free request of whatever he wants. That's all I'm trying to say.
Every month.
So you can check that out.
Has he given us a request yet?
He will when the time comes.
Yeah.
But we did actually finish our grind to 1,000 subscribers contest, and we gave out all those prizes. So Mozart actually did win third place, and we did his album review on The Last Emperors, The Legend of Bigfoot. Gio won $50 gift card and still hasn't told us what album he wants us to review. And Fluent Truant won the big prize and has given us a request of an MF Doom project, which will get done soon.
That's really cool.
We will have a new contest starting soon, so if you subscribe to the channel, you like the video, and you leave a comment about something that's commentable in the video or the artist or whatever, you'll be entered into that future contest draw that we'll announce at some point.
Future contest.
Woo! Okay. And then let's do the favorite comment of last week.
Let's do it.
Because, we still do that. It's from Lindell Williams, because when all else fails, Lindell shows up in comments, and he is my
Thank
favorite
you, Lindell.
because of that.
We appreciate it. We really do.
And this is on our Sum 41 Chuck review, so I can understand how it didn't get the most views and comments. I just really like the album. Relax, people. I guess this would be an album to travel back in time and reminisce on your youthful thoughts. In fact, it's a must for moving forward. I think it will be transcend time, but only for those who were a part of that time while listening to the album. Does it inspire? I would say yes, and I think both scores, that's me and Sydney here, are right. I think it comes down to the preference on the project. Yeah, so to paraphrase, unless you happen to be our age, you will not like this album. And unless you happen to probably be in Canada where it popped, you're not going to like it as much. And
unless you liked it, you're not going to remember it.
But if you did remember it and like it, it's awesome. That's the moral of that album review.
It's fine.
All right. We're here to talk about a different thing.
Album.
A very different one.
Let's do it.
Mr.
Oh my
Sydney.
God. We are doing In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth, 3, Coheed and Cambria. Oh my God. I'm so excited. I love this record.
All right. So this was a request from Mr. Sydney, and you can leave your request in the comments, but why don't you explain to us your relationship with Coheed and Cambria?
So, I grew up hating all things emo. And by grew up, I mean in high school, I hated all things emo. And that included what I believed to be the epitome of emo at the time, which was Coheed and Cambria. I really didn't like them. I didn't understand the hype. I was not down. I didn't like his voice. His voice was way too high. Fuck that shit. Then, 7 years later, I listened to, Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star, 4, Part 1, From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness, longest album title ever, and it is an incredible album. And then I discovered this album, and I read all the comics that went along with it, and I binged Coheed and Cambria forever, and now I love them, and their albums have permanent places on my playlists, and they are great.
And you, Christen, do you know them at all?
Me? No, I do not. No, completely different generation. So,
we can say that this is the newcomer perspective of somebody that is not even at all part of the Coheed and Cambria revolution of music, we'll call it.
Damn right, it's a revolution.
So I know who they are, and I have seen them live when they opened for Linkin Park in 2007. And they opened for Linkin Park, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but seeing Coheed and Cambria followed by Techno Linkin, it was Minutes to Midnight tour. It was such a weird mix.
It's a different style of music.
Like that, yeah, and it was just a weird mix. That's all I wanted to say, right?
They also went on a tour with Slipknot, which was equally weird.
However, to the credit of Coheed and Cambria, I was working at the local college's radio station at the time and happened to have a copy of No World for Tomorrow, which was the album they were promoting at the time.
Excuse me, pardon me. Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, Part 2, No World for Tomorrow.
I didn't know that because, well, frankly, the disc said that, and that's the disc I heard. So I had no idea that there was more to the band. I heard that album. It was
It's a great
cool.
fucking album.
There's a couple.
Side note, what's his name? Taylor, drummer from the Foo Fighters, drummed on that album.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But like at the time, let's say my musical palette was very
Coheed and
pop
Cambria.
and not interested in
Progressive music.
yeah, like this isn't necessarily newbie music, we'll call it, right?
They are this generation's Rush. You can disagree all you want. You're wrong.
Zero opinion. But yeah, so I knew that album and then boom, they went and a Favorite House Atlantic dropped when I was in high school, and it had a single and it played on Much Music and shit. That's
It is the single.
Whatever. No, there were two videos I found out on YouTube today.
Favorite House Atlantic and
the
Blood Red Summer.
Yeah.
What did I do to deserve?
Okay, we'll get there, Syd.
Okay.
Why
are we even here?
I could just talk about this on my own
Because
for
the
like an
people
hour.
like the contrast, okay? They like the
It's true,
contrast.
too much of Syd.
Sid all alone doing this for an hour. Somebody
It would
has
be over
somebody
now.
has to cringe for the people, and then he puts me in my place, and they're like, "Yeah, call him an asshole, Sid," and everybody's happy.
I think me doing this for an hour would be wildly entertaining.
Okay,
I would watch that.
didn't do so. But all I'm trying to say is, I kind of like feel like I have a disconnected understanding of their sound, and at the time I hated the sound. And having reviewed all these albums that like 9-minute songs, I've gotten accustomed and more open-minded to progressive music like this. But then I found out about the comic book shit.
Oh my god, the comic books.
So I'm all about
So
like,
violent and so bloody.
As I was reviewing this album, I'm messaging Sid and I'm like, what the fuck's a camper Velourium? What the fuck is going on this album? On Genius, there are lovely annotations that piece together parts of the story.
Right.
So now I know there's names and I'm fucking confused.
It was
So
confusing.
when I got to the last couple of songs, I caved. I started reading the comics. Well, let me tell you something.
Super addictive.
If you have not read the comic books, the whole 12 parts of these fucking comic books, it took me about 2 hours. And to be fair, this is the first comic books I've read in like a decade. So Coheed and Cambria got me back into comic books.
It's like Star Wars, but with all the bloody.
Yeah.
What do you call when you kill your own children? Childicide?
The opposite.
Infanticide.
Infanticide.
Why do I
all
know
of
that?
It's a fucking good story though. It's like no bullshit. I don't care if you like comics or not. Forget about the album here for a second. That comic is dope, and you should just check. I'm gonna link to like the first issue below to that like awesome free comic website, and you should just like take a gander and read it.
It is super self-indulgent because the main character is named after the lead singer of the band,
That's
who
totally
also
fine.
wrote all the comics.
It's
my name
fucking
is
right.
Claudio. I'm gonna call the guy Claudio. Like, fine.
That's true. My name's on the banner of our YouTube channel. I mean, I'm not gonna hate him for that.
Yeah, but your YouTube banner is not an epic, sprawling sci-fi saga.
It could be. It could be.
It could be.
Yeah, so I would just say check that out. But otherwise, the story of this album does not convey the story of the comic very well. And it's very hard to understand what the fuck's going on without the comic. And because he uses jargon from the comics and shit in the songs, I'm telling you, this is the soundtrack to the comic, as Sydney eloquently put, as we were discussing previously. And
It's more like a Broadway musical, so like you're listening to the songs without seeing the actual story play out. So, and the thing is too, the songs will switch back and forth from perspective to perspective.
Absolutely.
Without any warning.
And on top of that, there was at least one creative choice between the songs and the comic book final form that is different.
Very different. It's all very different.
So we'll get into that, but album cover and title, In Keeping a Secret, Silent Earth 3, only makes...
Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth.
I cannot say it right. I have fucking
3,
failed every
because
single
the
time.
planet is called Silent Earth,
Yeah,
3.
so Silent Earth,
Such a
whatever, lore, read the comics. It doesn't make sense without the comments, but basically a battle happened at Silent Earth 3, and this album tells the story surrounding shit. Boom, now you get the context. Otherwise, it's just a really weird album title that sounds cool but doesn't make a lot of sense.
So here's the basic concept of the story. Big giant dictator rules over the galaxy. There's a prophecy. There's a Jesus allegory.
Yeah, we'll get there. That's the story we'll talk about.
That's the 5 parts.
Anyway,
Claudio's Jesus.
And at the start of this thing, we know that Claudio's parents died
Because they killed their children.
Okay. Claudio's parents' names are, in fact, Coheed and Cambria.
The main characters of the prequel.
And so
the Black Rainbow.
They had a whole big situation. Key points. Coheed killed his twin children, and Claudio's the other one that survived.
Why?
I don't know.
Because the government forced them. It was a whole big thing.
And so they did that.
You were there. That's true,
it's
right?
True.
So
I read the comic.
Yeah, okay.
All sorts of bad shit happens. Big war goes down. Bad guys win. End of story. And then
proceed
we move on
to part 4.
Yeah. So the album cover is just clouds and like a moon, and it just says the title on it, and it is honestly
It's not a great cover.
Honestly, you can't even read the name in a thumbnail. It is a 2003 design.
Not a fan of the cover of this album.
Do you like it? Is it a good cover to you?
It's just not.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice. It's cool. It's dark. It's.
I bet it looked good on a poster.
Yeah.
But
2 on 5.
Yeah. All right. So is that? Do we have more to comment? I know you haven't talked as much.
No.
Okay.
No.
Shall we talk about?
No way less than you. My knowledge is very limited. I listen to the music for what the music is. And,
I've been a fan of this
so
band
you
now.
represent the regular folk.
Exactly. What is this? What is this talking about? I am basically you when you first listened to it before you read the comic.
I like that.
But I also read the comic, but I'm still confused. But we'll
okay.
see.
Did you actually read it?
The one that had this title.
Okay.
So
I think there are 6 issues
There's
to this.
12 issues.
No,
12 issues.
it just started
12.
somewhere, and there were fetuses.
Because
and
it's a
that's where
sequel
it was.
again,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
There was
Listen,
the
I
second
clicked
stage.
on the link. Okay.
So let's talk about The Ring in Return, which starts the album. Alright, I'm going to give you an idea of how this whole fucking process went for me. So I'm going to read you my notes that I took, and keep in mind that up until track 10, I had not read the comics at all. Okay? So my notes are a clusterfuck of confusion. Starts off with Lady answering the phone that is ringing saying hello. Then some triumphant intro music comes in. You get the feeling there is change and glory coming. That's what I got. Maybe you didn't get that feeling.
I don't remember what he says at the end. He says something at the end of the intro too.
Hello, Apollo.
Hello, Apollo. Right.
Where do I start, or how do I start?
Yeah,
Something
so
like
how do I
that.
Where do I begin?
Yeah.
And then it fades into something more staticky and ominous. At the end, we find out I thought the lady was Apollo. Oh boy, was I wrong.
Apollo is his dog.
Which we find out in the comics that is never explained on this album. You just hear a woman's voice, and then you hear the Apollo thing, and your assumption is that he's talking to the lady on the phone. But when you read the comics, you find out, no, he's been fucking calling her and hanging up on her, and she's just tripping.
So her name is Nuo. She is his girlfriend from Earth-ish? Earth-ish? I don't remember what planet he's from. It might not be.
Skyland Earth.
No,
no.
He's from somewhere else.
He's from I don't know.
X, Y. Okay, the galaxy is called Heaven's Fence, and it's in the shape of Coheed and Cambria's logo, which is like a triangle, I think. And it's ruled over by this evil dictator named Wilhelm Ryan.
Yep.
His name is Ryan. For just a big bad guy. His name is fucking Ryan. Fuck you, Ryan.
Yep. And so anyway, guy is from Planet A, and this is the girl from back in the day, and he went away and did stuff in the first comic, and now
after
he's
his
returned.
parents killed his baby brother and sister.
And then he was in like exile and shit, and he's come back, and he's talking to his dog, which I know because I read the comic, not because the song was very helpful.
The song is not helpful at all.
And then we find out that whatever we're about to hear in the rest of the songs is the story.
Right.
And we find out that in the comics he tells the story to his dog. So
and once you know that his dog's name is Apollo, it makes a lot more sense that the next 2 parts are called Good Apollo, like Good Apollo, a good dog, Good Apollo. I'm burning Star 4. Star 4 is the name of a planet.
Okay. So that's the next albums, and we'll get there when we talk about the next albums, but we have a fuck ton to talk about this album.
I hate this intro.
I give it a 4. Honestly,
I give this intro just less than a 0.
Why?
This is one of the worst album intros. I hate, and I love this album. But it could have just started. It could have just started, and it feels like they only did it to do some kind of justice to the way the story starts.
Yes.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Not unless you read the comic.
Not unless you read the
but
comic.
If you read the comic, it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense, but it's still stupid.
It sounds like video game music, to be
It
honest.
really
like,
does.
It sounds like when you put it on pause or it's on some like menu board and you go into the other room and it just has the same repetitive.
Right,
thing.
but like
Whatever.
Castlevania 1. Like...
But apparently, well, I read that like it's a common theme that you'll find throughout all of the albums.
It is.
That.
It is.
So,
This
like,
is one thing that comes back,
it's
and they do it better
interesting
later
they
on.
still bring it back for an intro, and the way it sounds, I think that makes sense if there's like a comic attached to it. So that I don't know. Like that was. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not like what are you doing, but
It's just there's no reason to ever play this track unless you want it to lead into the first track.
On the other hand, having listened to this album about 7 times now, A to Z, it really works with the album. And when you think about it as an album, it really works with this album.
Because it closes with this theme too, right? The album
Yeah.
closes with the...
But like, so to me, like, I get what you're saying, and I find that in a lot of album intros feel like that. Like, they make no sense except for in the context of an album.
Right.
And I'm giving it a 4 because I don't think it's the greatest album intro I've ever heard, but it got me curious to hear what came next.
But what I really like about this album is this is the album where they really, I think they found their sound, and then on the next album they perfected it. And then every album after that was a new experiment. So this one is like, it's still really rough around the edges, and that's how I feel about this intro. It's really rough around the edges. Like, it's something they tried that didn't quite work, but it's something that they perfected later on, so you can hear the beginnings of what they became.
You gave it a less than 0.
Yeah,
I give it a 4.
I give it a 4 because it feels like you're just ready to like press play or start.
Yeah.
With it. I don't know.
No,
That's cool.
That makes sense to me, a non-super fan of the album, critical of all their work.
It's fine that you're both wrong. That's okay.
You or me when we did Evanescence.
That's true.
That's true. I had heard Fallen. I know Fallen.
No, I think I was more like that. Do you have more to comment here?
No.
So let's talk about the title track, In Keeping Secrets of 7 Earth 3.
Will they be buried here among the dead?
Holden's wrong. Please go.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I don't know how we're gonna do this because like it's hard to just talk about the song without now knowing the comics. So
the jackhammer.
That's why I'm here.
Listen, I don't know if it's worth going into every piece of lore.
We don't have to.
The details. I think we'll keep to more of the granular aim of the story, and maybe what we can do is make another video on the world of Coheed and Cambria. If you guys are interested in that, let us know in the comments. We can geek out over there. So this song is long, right? That's my like first observation.
Like, if you are just coming into this record and you know nothing about Coheed and Cambria, you have to understand that this is unabashedly a prog record. So there are no songs shorter than 4 minutes. Most of them hover around 5-6. This one goes right to 8.
Sorry, there is one that clocks in at 3:50.
Is that Favorite House Atlantic?
Yes, it is. This
Fair enough. And even that song is barely a single. It's catchy,
I
but
agree.
there's so many sections to it. Sorry, please continue.
Okay, so here's the thing. Let's look at the lyrics for a second, and this is going to be
utter nonsense.
One of my least lyrical breakdowns here because it's hard to. A broad incision sits across the evening, the victim to our father's lost war. The restless children sit and mourn the graves, although they've never seen before. Will they be buried here among the dead in the secret silent? So now that I read the
silent secret,
right? I mean, I still can't place exactly what the fuck that's talking about in the comic, but at this point in the story, they're having a battle on Silent 3, and we have the protagonists we have the Jesse,
who is Coheed's brother,
Inferno.
Inferno.
And then we have the kids he's had that are genetically enhanced, and one of them's a 10-year-old girl. I don't
remember her name.
10 and she's got whatever. Wow. And then there's Sizer.
It's been a long time since I've read these comics.
Sizer is this, and they're like mechanical, I guess, android types.
It's been a really long time since I've read these comics.
So Sizer can change sizes at will. That's why he's called Sizer. And Sizer's craving his daddy's approval the whole way through. And Daddy doesn't want Jesse, he doesn't want to acknowledge his fatherhood.
Yeah, Jesse's kind of a dick.
Anyway, so this kind of has a whole like battle going on of what's happening over that, and they're just kind of reflecting on like perspective shifting between the characters in play. Like
the thing is too that this record isn't necessarily linear.
No, but even within this song, right? Sometimes it's like Sizer that is singing, and sometimes it's like Jesse that's singing, and
sometimes for you I'd kill anything. Cut the throats of babies, something, something.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
maybe. I don't know. Like it's lyrically a little hard to follow,
But you really feel the emotion
oh yeah.
in his delivery. And you feel it on every Coheed record, but here it's like raw and unhinged.
Yeah, no, I'm just like looking at whatever. Yeah, cut the throats of
And-
babies for them. For them, I'll kill anything. Cut the throats of babies for them. Break their hearts. For if they were waiting for you, to say I love you too.
Yeah, he takes these nonsensical non sequiturs from the story and gives them this almost romantic emotional depth. I really appreciate the way he arranges the lyrics, because it is absolute nonsense if you have no idea what's going on. But at the same time, you can apply your own story to it.
And then, yeah, then like it kind of ends with the rebel folk, so Jesse's people retreating because this is the underwater battle where shit goes bad. So this whole battle takes place underwater too, because they've been found out and shit in submarines and crap. And then the prize, which are some alien angel people,
Right.
They have superpowers like magic and shit, and they help them escape.
They're pretty badass.
They are pretty cool, and that's why the end is like, and we're coming home and blah blah blah. It's because they're like escaping and they're going back to Silent Earth 3, which is where the base used to be 10 years ago in the other story. And as a song, it's got some crazy interesting riffs.
Oh my god. That fucking intro riff is so classic. Like, for me, it's so iconic.
And, but like it's one of those self-encompassing musical pieces. Like it really feels theatrical. It's got this growth to it. The downside to the way their songs are structured is it's hard to identify which riffs in my head right now belong to which songs. And
Okay.
that's kind of where I'm at, because I have listened to it a lot in bulk. But I know that the progression of this is here. My biggest grievance is that jarring stop before it plays the intro riff again and plays out the outro. I wish it had just ended there personally, and that whole last minute and a half I could kind of live without. And it's one of the only really long ones I felt that way about. So I gave it a 4.25 because it's a fucking great song, all things considered. It's really like any song that's 8 minutes that you can pretty much get through and not be like, wow, that was 8 minutes. Instantly is fucking impressive.
I mean, this song doesn't feel like 8 minutes to me. And generally, I would agree with you on false finishes like that. But this one, I feel like is done so well, and it comes back in, and it's so epic, and it really feels like there's a great story that's about to happen, even though you have no fucking idea what the story is because the lyrics are so vague. Christen!
Well, I mean, if you look at any other song, I mean, there are a lot of songs where just the lyrics are confusing, so that was
That's
just
fair.
kind of an okay. But other than that, I mean, I don't know, it was a great song. I liked it. But it was long. It was long. From not understanding what's going on and then just briefly looking at the lyrics and being like, okay, there's a story. Wait, there's no story? Like,
Man, your own jackhammer, man. Like, how do you not know what that means?
So jackhammers are their weapons.
No, the jackhammer is the name of the ship.
Oh,
The enemy ship weapons, like TIE fighters. They're like TIE fighters. That's a way to paraphrase it.
But their ship, the main character's ship, is called the jackhammer.
No, it's Ryan's weapon ships. It's the enemy guy's ships. I just read this fucker, okay?
you should know this, Sid.
I'm not even... Anyway,
And
tell us.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, I just
Sure.
read this shit. The same thing I said to him with a different tone of voice. Go on, Kristen. I'm very curious to hear what else you thought.
Well, that's basically it. No, it was good. I mean, what I did after listening to everything was I went back and opened the specific comic with the same title, and then I kind of played this in the background as I was reading it, and it was kind of more like, it made more sense, just the feel to it. I don't know.
The thing
It
is,
was a good song.
the tone of the comic is very different from the tone of the
I know,
music.
but it depends also
I
which...
don't agree entirely.
It depends which part you're on and which song you're
Yeah,
on, and it's
'cause-
kind of like, you really, like, you gotta sit on
Like,
one of the
if you
pages
were to,
for a
like,
song,
hit
but-
play on the album and just, like, open up comic 1 and start reading, it would probably feel really good the whole way through.
I mean, I love both. I love both for very different reasons. And they go together
Understood.
really well. I give the song a 5 on 5.
What did you give it?
Did like a 4.5.
So 4.5. 4.5.
4.5.
It's okay, I'm like that. So let's move on to Cuts Marked in the March of Men.
Dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Understand correctly, there is a plot difference here in this track compared against the comics. So And this song is apparently from the perspective of Sizer. Well, at least the chorus is from the perspective of Sizer.
Chase is the woman that Jesse is in love with, is it not?
See, that's the thing. Chase is the woman that Sizer's in love with in this song. But in the comic books, Chase is Sizer's sister. And there was a creative choice difference between the comic, which was re-released after this album, as I understand it. Because, yes...
Jesse and Chase are romantically involved.
No, Jesse is the father. Chase is the daughter. The 10-year-old girl person. I think. Look, if I'm wrong, fuck, like I just said.
I'm fairly certain Chase is the woman that Jesse's in love with.
I know
who dies at the end of this story.
But I'm pretty sure that I don't remember that happening. Therefore,
there is a love interest in this story.
Not really.
Yes, because one of them dies at the end of this, and Jesse dies at the end of the next one. Spoiler alert.
At the end of this comic, it kind of like ends really open without a death. It ends on a cliffhanger.
There was a lot of death at the end of this story.
I know,
you might not have read them all.
No, I read all 12 fucking issues of this thing to the point where it stopped. I'm telling you that there was no Jesse love interest. Jesse's story and plot arc of this is accepting the fact that he's a father. So by issue 12, he starts like offering support to Sizer and shit. So like at the end of this comic, that was the conflict of Jesse. Sizer and the girl that is there, the 10-year-old girl, which I believe is Chase. Chase is the one that makes the prize come back to life. If so, that's the 10-year-old girl, and she is not the love interest of Jesse. She's the pseudo-daughter of Jesse. Like I said, I know this. I just read this. This is what I got. All that to say, as I understand it, according to Genius, this chorus is from the perspective of Sizer expressing love to Chase, but then that ended up changing in the comic when he flipped it to them being siblings, or it's really weird. And that's where...
Luke and Leia.
Yeah, but she... Yeah. But I can't... Anyway, so that's what I understand of the... But if I can't save her, because if I understand something happens to Chase in this battle... But then Sizer gets captured at the end of this battle. And that's
I remember.
So this is where Sizer gets captured, which plays into the plot of the next song, actually. So there is a good sequence to the songs as once you've read the comics. And honestly, the lyrics like, in arms we storm, slowly the streets begin to fill with new flesh bound to bone, armed and ready, it begins again. And war, blah, 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 shit's going down.
I just fucking love this chorus. In your last hour stand, you'll notice the one that you... Like, it's... Again, the words are strung together so well that you don't care that they mean nothing to you.
Absolutely. I'm going to give him credit. If I never knew the story and I just listened to the way he sings it, I don't think I need to hear the words.
Right. And as the records progress, he just keeps adding more and more layers of vocals because there's just more and more story to add. So it's just like... layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of hooks that mean nothing but sound great and feel great.
But what's really cool about the riffs of this song is that it has such a different feel to it. Like
it's rhythmically really cool.
Whatever the rhythm is. So like it comes in like that, and the overarching core rhythm of the song is different. It's not 8 minutes; it's more like 5, which compared to 8 minutes feels like 2. So like it's kind of like a nice denser, fun experience, and it like ends proper. I feel like you can really go along and you can picture your own battle scene playing out. Like you don't necessarily need to know the story to enjoy the album, but I'm telling you, if you read the comics, you're gonna fucking love it a lot more.
The experience. So what I really like musically about this song and about this record in general is the bassist is so uncharacteristically funky for this style of music. And he shines through particularly on this record. On the next record too. Afterwards they changed bassists, I believe. But
that's cool. I gave this one a 4.5 because it's better than the last one to me, and I really dug it still. I don't know. But you haven't talked a lot at all, really.
Hey.
Okay, again, from the perspective of not completely knowing everything about this, I liked it, but it sounds like more of an angry song. And I mean, am I wrong? Maybe, but it was interesting because it was like
intense
or intense, maybe not like yeah. I guess it was nice. Like it was a nice difference, and it kind of I think is like a precursor to the rest of the album, knowing that it's not going to be like just an album where everything sounds the same.
Right.
Like it's not pure nothingness or like I don't get the lyrics and every song sounds the same. Everything is like telling a story. So even if you're listening to it and haven't read the comics and you're just completely confused like I was. I don't know. I liked it musically, so I would give it a 4.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna drop a 4 on this one. It's not my favorite
It's
song.
good.
It's not my favorite song on the record. I love it. I love the chorus. The chorus and that intro riff are the two real standouts for me on this track.
I liked it. It's okay.
It's a good song. It's not my favorite on the record. It's not my least favorite on the record.
It's okay.
But
Syd, your heart is laced with 3 evils embodied in love and shadow.
You style makes the hurt and breaks the hidden hair.
All right, Christen.
a letter that says
Christen,
reborn.
how do you feel about this
Sid
one?
needs to finish his acapella version
I was talking. He'll go on for like 5 minutes.
I
so
will.
You need to cut him off here.
He could be your background music.
Whoa.
You should just do this
Don't
whole thing a
encourage him.
cappella.
Don't encourage him.
All right, no.
Go on.
This song, it was just very different. Like the style is very different. And
It gets really pop punk.
it does. It's very. I mean, me having my limited newer. Well, that's not quite new music I listen to. It's just in My Chemical Romance like popped into my head with this because it's
Which is
like
fair.
punk. But this is a good song. It's just and it's like we were saying with the lyrics before. It's kind of ironic and it's good. It's cool.
So
It's
the
chill.
irony is because this song's about torturing Sizer. That's the irony,
Torture's
because
cool.
it's so happy and poppy and fun, but Sizer's being tortured. But yeah,
Pull the trigger and the nightmare
honestly, it's like I'm picturing the comic right now, and I feel a little bit of emotions building up at just like how well constructed that is, right? Like you got to consider it, right? Like this is almost like Sizer, or the character that he's taken on here, has and he's broken and battered after he's found and shit. It's like he's partitioned his mind the way I've seen described in how people survive torture.
Yeah.
And he's put himself in this happy place. This like, and he's holding out. He's not like selling out the cause or anything. He's doing it right. Like he's OG about how he's fucking handling this. And then like he takes it on, and it's like you got lyrics. Like keep in mind, this is like happy shit, and it's like across the floor in the hand of where we drove the drill, a cautious ear to mouth of your confession. Like let's be real, this is one of the most direct songs as far as lyrics go. Think of it like you get it, like he's fucking wants you to confess your shit. He's putting a drill to your head. He's gonna fucking kill you. Think a lot of things
And
we put him through.
the art.
In the face of his God, would he tell the truth? And in the art, he's like completely disemboweled.
Yeah.
His fucking skin's torn off. And he is a robot person, so it's.
And the
he's
thing
not-
is
he
too,
can live through it.
God plays a significant role in this story. Not God as we know him, but the creator of Heaven's Fence, who is a very real person who left and has not been seen for eons. And that's how Wilhelm Ryan took control. So when they say God in these lyrics, they mean a real person who has just disappeared.
Yes. And then in the second verse, Claudio Kligman and his prize companion, who we find out is Annabelle, I believe.
Ambelina.
Ambelina. I said it wrong. It's the best. And then they find him, and then they have stuff like I don't know if I wrote those lyrics down. Either way, fucking they find him, and that's reflected in the song. And then at the end, you get like his PTSD like just kicking in there. That's how I interpreted that last part. Where he's like, pull the trigger, and then it's just. You just feel his haunting nightmares of his experience as he's coping with that shit.
This is a good anthem for university, to be honest.
Whoa.
I didn't think about it.
But yeah, I really dug it. I love the way it fades out. This is an excellent use of a fade ending. The energy on the song is fantastic. It really does have a good pop punk, but not like 4-chord boring, but
No.
like well constructed. It feels pop punk while really being well written.
And this isn't the last time that they ever visited this genre, like on this record I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
it's
But
coming
it's
back.
the last time, like on this record, it's the last time that they visited it so directly. Like on every subsequent record, it gets a lot more progressive in its mindset.
Fair. Yeah, it's cool.
So and the thing is too is that at the time that this came out, right? It's interesting you mentioned My Chemical Romance, because Coheed and Cambria were in the same vein as bands like My Chemical Romance. They were considered to be in the same vein as you know, The Used, Brand New, all of these next wave emo bands. But while these other bands were singing lyrics like Pull the Trigger and The Nightmare Stops about personal shit,
Yeah.
Coheed and Cambria were singing about an epic sci-fi
They're like
story
the
that
fucking
they wrote.
Deltron. They're like the Del the Funky Homo Sapiens of fucking this style
Or
of
like the
music.
Gorillas.
You know who the rapper of the original?
Yes, I know. Thank you.
Yeah. It was Dell.
It was Dell.
Yeah, that's right. I give it a 4.5.
Finally, someone let me out of my cage.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I give this song 4.5.
Did I rate it?
I don't know, but
think
you can
so.
rate it
was
again.
4.
Another 4.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That
It
hurts
is
my Coheed and
like-
Cambria heart.
It's fine.
If it was bad, I'd give it a 3. A 4 is good.
Is it the crowing next?
It is the crowing.
It's the crowing.
I severed my ties.
All day long, I've been opening up this song, and I've been jumping ahead to about the 5-minute and 20-second point because it's fucking long. Yeah, and then even that "Dear Aveline," when that kicks in, like, I don't know, man. Those like 2 minutes are my favorite 2 minutes on the entire album. It is it's one of the best song outros I may have ever heard, ever. I'm not saying it is the most objectively speaking well-written one. This is my subjective appearance and current state of mind when I heard the song. I don't know. Maybe it's because I read the comics now and I'm picturing Ambelina fighting off those monster things that are coming at him, or all of that. I don't know.
Because, like, you hear the screech at the end of the previous song, right? And that's the thing being introduced. And you see the thing being introduced in the comics, and you're just like, holy shit.
And it's like this fucking priest of blah blah blah. It's
Yeah.
the monster thing, and then Ambelina is like, and he doesn't know Ambelina has been protecting her.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know, and this is going on, and then oh man, and then it's kind of
So she's a member of the race called the Prize, who are this, like, warrior angel race.
they have like superpowers.
The crowing is the prophecy.
It's Claudio.
It's supposed to be him. He is very reluctant towards it. He does not want to
The
accept
next
this
song.
responsibility.
That is the next song, Sydney. We're not there yet in this album story.
The song is called The Crowing.
No, but this is the song. But telling you, the reluctant to accept it is the following song. I
Fine.
promise. But yeah, so we find out, I guess. Like, you get the I don't actually know what the lyrics of the song are fucking about. I'm not gonna lie. I know that Dear Ambelina shit is the nicest shit. What did I write here? So the first part has the Claudio dude who is Destiny and self-doubt. A fit. Maybe this is the one you were talking about. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
I've always took that, but you
fed the
were
clues
my
of a lost
favorite.
day killed in motion, but I thought it so like there's no other way it could have been done. Will they size my fit for a puzzle? No, the next one is what I thought. Yeah, this one just kind of like has him reflecting over trauma and shit, and it's
That's
driving
it.
him mad. This is the one where he's dealing with his parents, and he's like accepting for the fucking death of shit, and like.
But so, like, you were my favorite. I've always either felt is his little sister
Okay.
or Nuo. One or the other.
He was lamenting over the fact that his father killed the twins.
Yes.
And it could be related to that.
Or it could be about Nuo, because she plays a big part in the next couple of albums as well.
I know, but she has like no part in this.
She has no part in this story, but she is still the woman that he yearns for.
Yeah.
Because he's in love with her. But but as far as he's concerned here, or as far as he knows, he'll never see her again.
Yes. So yeah, and that so it's why it's called The Crowing, I would say, is because of that part at the end where he's in theory at his parents' graves and shit reflecting, and it's just he gets overcome with like this rage and this anger, like something has to get done and shit.
Yeah, he's
and
not a happy person by the end of
this
the story.
is where he gets introduced to Ambelina, because Ambelina's wings are cut off. I don't know, it's just happened. And so she's flying around helping him, and then one day they bump into each other, and I think that's kind of like what's happening at the end is because Ambelina's like, you're the crowing guy, you've got to go and the crowing is a prophecy where he's gonna go fuck up Ryan and kill everybody, kill
the evil
guy,
Ryan,
all sorts of people have to die. And so she's like, whatever, trying to like force it on him and stuff. And anyway, that's kind of explored a little more in the next song. But yeah, I get it a 4.75. It sounds fucking great.
Holy shit, this song is a 5. I love this song so much.
I'm not gonna lie though, like the outro is a 6. The rest of the song I like.
I'll fuck you up. This song is fucking perfect.
I really do like the rest of the song, but not as much as I like the last 2 minutes of the song. But to be fair, there's like 4 separate pieces of music put together here, creating this congruent, sewn together, almost Jesus of Suburbia-esque experience.
That's why I wrote, I'm confused.
How do you feel about this?
I'm confused. I don't know. Conflicted now. I don't know. No, I mean, I didn't. It was just, there was nothing. It wasn't my cup of tea and looking at it objectively, but it's not bad.
What about that section that goes like?
Confusing. It was just confusing. That's all. I mean, there's
But
no. I
like-
would still give it a 4 because musically, I think it was interesting. It's just I was
So is it just the lyrics that you find confusing?
Well, the structure, I think, of this song.
Or the lack
mostly.
thereof?
Again, it is unabashedly progressive.
Okay.
But that's the thing, like, I think if I were listening to it, having read everything completely and really into the story, it would be a much different thing than
Well, to be fair, on later albums they do
this.
a lot more
That's
choruses.
later albums.
But I mean,
This
that's
is
what I'm saying.
this
That's why I love this album because
the
it's so
moment.
raw and so like they're
So,
just discovering
if
that
I'm
sense of their
understanding
sound.
correctly, it's the lack of poppiness that makes it hard to relate to.
Probably, yeah.
I'm just gonna frame it like that.
There
a
we
little
go.
bit.
Well, but not necessarily, yeah. Structure of that, yes.
Oh, excuse me.
All right.
I
Yes,
love
okay,
pop music. Don't get me wrong.
It's fun to follow. It's easy to follow.
It is definitely this. Look, this album I
Like,
might
it's not
not.
formula.
I don't know that I'd like
Which
this
is
album
good.
as much as I do now if I hadn't listened to it like 6 or 7 times.
There
So
we go.
That is something to take into consideration.
That's
That's
fair.
a lot of the albums that I find we've reviewed that I've kind of been like, it's okay, you know, and then I'll leave here and I'll be listening to it a lot. Or I'll hear things like when we did another one of the pop albums and I was like, and then it was on the radio so much and so many people were like, oh yeah, and it was like, well, you know.
I get that. I actually really do.
Watch me become more obsessed than Syd after this.
Guaranteed. You're gonna see that she becomes the biggest Coheed head. Is that what they call them? Coheed heads.
Co-heads.
Oh, shit.
Heads.
So let's Blood Red Summer.
Blood Red Summer.
This music video is trash.
Hey,
I'm throwing it out there.
Hey.
Like it's Claudio is the singer guy's name too.
Yeah.
He's bopping around doing stuff in the woods and like his band pops
Doing
in and
stuff
does
in the
like no, he's like hammering wood and like just doing stuff at his like cabin home.
I don't remember the video for this song. I remember that neither of the videos for this album have anything to do
Nothing at
with
all.
the story.
And it's a little bit. I could imagine how a lot of people would never have even knowing that there was stories and counterpieces or lore behind it based on it. But I also imagine the label said, "Yeah, right, do the damn cabin in the woods video."
Yeah.
So
The videos on the next album are
Okay.
actually related to the story.
that's cool.
Just
I'm
saying.
gonna have to check that out.
Here.
Yeah, but
I know Syd's like space-time continuum here is taking into consideration more lore than other people in the room have been able to handle.
I am mega fan, and I am
No, it's good.
unashamed to admit it.
It's
That's cool.
good, it's
So
good.
this track
Motherfuckers.
is where Claudio is having trouble accepting his destiny, right? So like faint white figures paint my sleep. Please don't tell my secrets, keep them hidden. You got it.
You
And
got
that's
it.
like him
you
kind of
got
saying
it.
this is his destiny. He doesn't necessarily want folk to know what's going on. In the words that matter, reach your fate. From floor will you be wondering if do I need what is given or honest? He's reflecting. He's like the truth is coming his way. He doesn't want to accept it. And then like and when the answers that you want is in the question that you state, come what may, come what may. That standalone lyric is like you could put that on your Facebook status and people will think you're smart. You could tweet it and people will think you're smart. And it's fucking cool.
I
Like,
think
it's a
people.
great line.
I remember people having this song in their MSN Messenger screen names without having any idea what it actually meant.
because it's about him accepting his fate and becoming the crowing messiah of death. But really,
But it's such a happy little ditty.
Again.
What did I do to deserve? What did I do to deserve?
again, to have to go kill everyone. It is a heavy fucking fate. Plus, he's already a fucked up individual suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder
Because
himself.
his whole family's dead. But what's really cool about this song, again, and I'm going to bring up the next couple of albums, is that it comes back. I'm sorry, guys, I have
it's
to.
okay.
This
That's
song,
why Syd's here.
this song gets repeated almost in its entirety on the next album in the middle of another 9-minute song. And then the What Did I Do to Deserve refrain comes back again on No World for Tomorrow. So that's just
Okay.
another level that they keep the story going, the concept going.
So let's say
musically.
in the meta game of this album,
They win.
I hear you. And,
5 on 5.
I give this a 4.25.
You're wrong.
I'm not. It's slower. It's calmer. It totally feels like the album took a break.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fine.
But the
It was
bass line.
different than the other things. But
Wait.
well, different than other songs. It was good though.
You can say more.
Interesting. I don't know what to say. Like, at one point, I just got very lost in this, I think, because I wasn't following along with the story, but it was still, I like it.
Well, this one, like...
And I like, no, but I really, actually, really appreciated, like, the harmonies, and it didn't just feel like, it was like, oh, I'm just gonna put this together. Like, it was well constructed. It wasn't something, like, that was just done.
And then, like, you just have to consider that from a songwriting point of view, like lyrics and shit, it actually stands alone and you don't actually need to hear the story. This is one of the few ones that it's just a person reflecting on their destiny.
Because there are no name drops in this song, right?
And then there's that awesome lyric, is when the answer that you want is in the question that you state. And that's amazing because like it just really makes me consider how often people will come up to you for advice and you know that they don't want your advice. They just want to tell you whatever it is.
Validation.
And then not even that. They just want to talk, and they don't even need you to be there. You're just there because they need you to be there. But really, you could be anyone. So really, the questions that their answers that they're looking for are in the questions that they're stating, and I thought that was super interesting. 4.25 because it's not as good as Syd said.
Incorrect.
Shout. Are we good? We're done on this one.
I think we're good on this one.
So let's talk about something that, unless you read the comics, is fucking confusing. The Camper Velourium 1, Faint of Hearts.
Your time. Worries are the words that
So, if you were like me and had, at this point, not read the comics, you're going up to Syd and going, what the fuck is the Camper Velourium? Is this like a side story that has nothing to do with the rest of the main plot of this album?
No, super important. This is like the entire last 6 issues of this story.
He's absolutely right, and it's kind of what led me to reading the comic ultimately. So the Camper Velourium is a ship that they escape a planet from after this whole, like, he accepts he's the crowing, shit goes bad, they're running away, whatever. Shit goes bad, they're running away, bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
Al the
He
Killer...
makes a friend.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his friend's name is.
We'll get there. He has a whole song with his name in it. But, like, they escape on the ship together and shit, whatever.
But Al the Killer was hired by...
No, Al the Killer saw a bounty for him,
Right.
and he's doing it selfishly. So you don't really... Okay, so Al the Killer is in the background of the story the whole time. And we'll talk about his particular niche in his song because it's relevant to one of the lyrics there, and it'll give us a chance to talk about it there. But what you need to know for now is Al the Killer is a guy with a ship called the Camper Velourium. And they use the Camper Velourium to escape the planet when shit gets fucked up. And you have Al, the prize girl, what's her name? Ambelina. We have Claudio and Sizer. Sizer is the fourth guy, and they have repaired Sizer, and he's in the squad. So those four are the squad, and they escape on the ship. And this song, these 3 songs are actually just kind of telling the story of Al the Killer, right? No, that's what they're doing. So Faint of Hearts is actually the first part of Al the Killer's story. It's kind of justifying why he does what he does. I guess we have to talk about him now.
It's just, I feel like he has a lot less depth in the actual comic than he does here.
He gets a lot of depth here. So in the comic... yes,
he's just kind of a crazy serial killer.
Yeah, so we find out that in the very first issue, even it's in issue 1, back when he's talking to Apollo at the beginning of this album, that this girl that Al is obsessed with is dumping him, and she leaves, and she's going off, and she calls the police to deal with Al because he's a fucking crazy stalker type guy, and whatever. Then throughout the whole, like, anyway, we'll talk about his like. What he does after, but he just kind of is a little bit crazy, and he's obsessed with this girl, and he's kind of like, this song is
What's
almost...
her name?
The first girl? I don't know. I don't remember.
Doesn't he keep calling all the other girls
Alice.
her name? Yeah,
Alice.
he calls them all Alice.
Yes, you're right. So, yeah, with the words that he gave her, they told her the worst of me, my wanting just to hold your neck in my arms and feel me squeeze. No, I'm not going to give you what you want, so if you please, the sin that shapes your voice, my ears, the new disease.
He has them hung up on meat hooks.
That's later on. Yeah, so he's basically meeting these girls
in a bar,
and he's manipulating them, and they're filling a role for him. They're his, like, object of affection. And this song kind of explores that a bit, like, you're so well behaved as you watched him made your way, the gift for you engraved, the shift as you stretch your legs. Like, kind of at this point a little bit sounds like he's trying to fuck him or rape him or something like that.
Which I think yes.
Yes.
Also.
And we just kind of left with that, and that's what this song presents. So it's part 1, and noteworthy stuff. It's got this cool like rock vibe to it, like almost cowbells I think are heard in this song. There's a cuckoo, which is worth stating because it's not often you get I Am the Walrus references.
What's really cool about this song and about that I've actually been meaning to mention that I haven't mentioned yet is Claudio Sanchez, like the lead songwriter slash comic book writer slash mastermind of Coheed and Cambria, is as great a guitarist as he is a melody writer, as he is a lyricist, as he is a story writer. So his guitar melodies interweave so well with the rest of the music. The man is just a virtuoso when it comes to writing melodies. Like he can just harmonies on harmonies on harmonies on harmonies, but like different instruments providing harmonies that are just so subtle, and having these little hooks come in, these little guitar hooks that do like it's everything about Coheed and Cambria is hooks.
Yeah.
Hey, Christen.
So I'm gonna comment at the end of all of these 3.
So what did you give this one?
I did not give it anything yet.
What? Okay.
What? Oh my god, what am I doing? I'm messing with the format.
It's okay. I can't control other people. I've been told by the internet I need to be less of an asshole and more considerate, so I'm working on that. You cannot give it a grade if you feel.
One of us. So
I give it a 4.5 because it's really fucking great energy. It's really fucking fun to listen to, and if like this is one of the few songs where if you were just gonna like go and listen to a song to get a taste and want to hear more of the album, this is one of like 2 or 3 I'd recommend. Like it's a really good intro track, I'd say.
That's fair. This one is a sleeper for me. It was kind of skippable when I first heard this record, but you have to keep in mind that I love the first track and you didn't like it.
That doesn't make me feel this like this.
I mean, I like the song. It's got a lot of great hooks, but it's still not one of the ones that's one of my absolute favorites. I'm gonna give it a 4.2.
Okay, she's not giving it a grade.
If you want, I'm gonna stick with my average.
So it's a 4, and she felt it was different. And the Camper Velourium 2 Backend of Forever.
Everything is different.
Of the Velourium trilogy, this is definitely the least favorite one in my opinion. I mean, you feel more. It's like a more intense, darker version of the last song. Like lyrically, rock silent and a soft lullaby. Panic stirred me, awakened by a ringing phone. Where and when would I see her? Crazy were the words that scribbled out your mouth. I stuttered, So you get the sense of like he's snapping a little bit more. So let's say the last one he was just obsessed. Now he's fucking snapping. And
you can hear the insanity, like in the diminished runs. The way that it starts off with this really understated palm muting spider riff, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and quirkier and more melodic, and more layers just keep getting added and added. More gain. Always more gain.
I just gotta say, I love the way he rhythmically and just sonically does that. Told me to date all the things that made you end up in my life, and I'll believe anything. I have no luck with girls. That whole portion, the way he delivered it was magnificent in light of anything else I said about this.
Yeah. This song is a 4.5 for me.
I give it a 4.25. I mean, you really get the sense that he's obsessed and he's snapping and etc., like I just said. But it really, like, musically, I guess, I don't know, there's just nothing overly distinct about this one. It kind of sounds like bits and pieces of other songs I've heard on this album.
If you listen to it and just really appreciate the punches, just the subtle rhythmic fuckery that they, for lack of a better word, that they get away with in this song, I love it.
I mean, it was darker, so I liked it better. And again, I'm going to comment at the end. Yeah, but it's still a 4. Oh.
Okay.
I liked it.
So let's move on to
the
Camper Velourium 3.
Ow, the killer. Sorry.
Fucked up my whole table. Alright, so Al the Killer has a bunch of fucking bodies hung up on meat hooks in the fucking room in his ship, and Ambeline...
You actually, in the comic, watch him kill one of them. It's really fucked up.
You do watch that happen. Not in that comic, but like an earlier one. Because throughout the whole comics, he's meeting different girls, and there's almost like an ongoing motif. He's on these different dates, and he's watching... You see him as like a background character watching everything happen to Claudio, and they keep running into each other as stuff's going on, and everybody thinks that Claudio's kind of crazy, and he's talking to himself and all sorts of stuff, and basically Al the Killer's just there, and you see him every time you see him, he's with a new girl, and she's having some comment like, hey, let's go back to my place, Alice. My name's not Alice. And that's just kind of like the ongoing thing. Then you see all these girls hanging from meat hooks, and you see this as Ambeline or whatever. Ambelina walks into the room with, and they're on a ship. They've escaped the planet, and she walks in and just realizes who the fuck this guy is. Like it's like some fucking end of the fucking world shit when they find that like camera and see that he's a fucking crazy rapist guy. And like he just comes in and you see that in the comic, and then cause I was really curious, right? When you out of context are hearing lines like die white girl, die white girls, you're a little bit going, wait, what? Why? Well, because that first girl was white, and he's capturing these white girls because serial killers tend to go after the
same like, type of person.
Yeah, and it's driven by that. And I mean,
I watched Dexter.
Lyrically, it's like
psychology. You're wrong.
So, like, lyrically, it's like a little.
On Dexter, they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Profile. I don't know. I'm not.
Dexter.
Yeah, sure. Like lyrically, it's a little more insane, like a little more pushed it. Like at birth, given scars along tender heart, liberties and justice for awkward living, situated casualties. They lay dead along your floor, careful not to wake them. They're sleeping in the morrow's good morning. Like
which I think is something he actually says in the comic. Careful not to wake them. They're sleeping.
Yeah, and then the dying will discard the wish to live. And then when I kill her, I'll have her dance upon the graves of the dead.
When I kill her,
dance upon the graves upon your name. So he's obviously obsessed with this person. But listen, like it's my favorite song on this album. Like I know it's fucking crazy. Like it is so good. It's like this culmination is built up, right? You have him in like Faint of Hearts. He's like calm. He's obsessed. It's weird. Then he gets extra creepy in part 2. He just fucking snapped. And in the comics, he's raging out, and now he's trying to kill Ambelina and them and whatever. And what's really the key takeaway from the comic is it ends with Claudio using his psychic mind powers to take over Al the Killer, and now he controls Al the Killer. And we find out Al the Killer was really just trying to turn him in for a bounty, so he's a fucker and nobody likes him.
Yeah, he's the worst. This is the heaviest fucking song on the record, hands down. Oh my god, it's so fucking heavy, especially in the context of this record.
And the comic and everything.
Yeah. I love the way that the voice is layered. So like there's the melody, and then there's like an almost subliminal repetition of the lyrics going on underneath. The chanty part is great. I keep bringing it up, but I love the fact that Bye Bye World comes back again and again on the next 2 records. It's another refrain that just keeps happening.
Yes, congruency across your meta universe is awesome.
Meta as fuck. This is song 3. How did you feel?
Oh, yay, cool. Okay. Again, from the perspective of not knowing anything, I mean, it was I like the fact that it wasn't, I thought it was going to be like a really basically long song through 3 different parts, and it was not.
It was not.
Like you said, very different. I don't know, but I feel it was important to the album.
Yeah, it was.
We've been waiting for 3 songs to hear her say that.
I don't know. There's not much. I haven't listened to it enough. There we go. If I listened to this a few times.
So what did you give it?
I would give it a 4 also.
Oh my god. For those of you at home, please tell Christen to listen to this record.
I will. I'm telling you. I'm going to come back.
No, it's definitely one that grows on you. Yeah. And I don't know. She's a busy person. Can't judge her. Oh man, she's like all over. If you follow her on Instagram and shit, she's like fucking doing all sorts of shit.
Should follow her on Instagram.
Like performings and standing around with guitars and stuff.
School.
And yeah, school. So school. So yeah, next song is.
Wait, I didn't give this a grade.
Okay, you gave it a 5.
Thanks.
The next song is
Faber, House, Atlantic.
The song you've heard of if you've just heard the one song by Coheed and Cambria back in the day.
I mean, it was probably Welcome Home.
So I didn't know any of these words when I was like 14 or 15 or whenever the fuck this came out. I think I was 15 when this came out. I didn't know any of the words. I read them and I was like, whoa, he's saying good eye, sniper, here, I'll shoot, you run. And for the context, he's talking to Al the Killer, who he's controlling, and this is Al the Killer as his weapon of choice running through. And so they've gone to the battle and they're fighting Ryan, and he's about to come in and do some crowing badassery.
Right. The House Atlantic, by the way, is the name of Ryan's stronghold.
Yes. And it's a favor for House Atlantic. I don't know.
Yes. So, and he does this a lot. He'll remove pronouns for the sake of, I guess,
Artistry. We'll call it artistry.
So a
Or
favor
style.
House Atlantic is supposed to be a favor for House Atlantic.
But the favor is death and destruction.
Yeah. So
And then, like, but even like the chorus. So the words you scribbled on the wall with the loss of friends you didn't have. I'll call you when the time is right. Are you in? Are you out?
for them all to know the end of us all.
Which is really him as Claudio reaching out to his squad, being like, I'm about to do the shit. Are y'all in? Or are you all out? You know, and like, it's interesting because he's in that battle. He's going in. And fun fact, Chase, the little girl, has revived the prize from the dead using superpowered energies. And now there's a giant prize army.
It is also fun to understand the foreshadowing of the end of us all, because the prophecy of the crowing is that ultimately he is going to destroy Heaven's Fence.
Everyone.
Everyone. Yes.
Everybody dies.
That is the prophecy. That is what the crowing is for. So whenever they make reference to Bye Bye World or Are you ready to know the end of us all, this is where the story is headed.
And then what I love is the response that he gets from whoever he's reaching out to. I don't really know. Is the bye-bye, beautiful, don't bother to write, disturbed by your words, and they're calling all cars.
FBI.
Face step, let down, face step, step down. But if you really think about it, it's like, wow, you're really going to kill the whole fucking everybody? I mean, I was by your side and shit, but...
And he doesn't want to.
You gone too far. I can't get behind this. Shit's fucked up. And
Star 4 is where the prize are from. Sorry, I just remembered.
Okay. But yeah, so I mean, it's not really reflected a lot, but in the comic book, there are battles going a certain way, and then all the prize show up and swing the tide and everything, and everything's bad, and then he shows up, and it's the crowing, and Inferno's not winning the war, and then Sizer shows up. And I say this because the next song isn't very clear for the story. It's ambiguous as to what it's really about. And so they have the battle, and then they win the battle, and Wilhelm Ryan runs away. I don't know if he's captured. I think
he's not.
I think he escapes, so that there's another day, but pretty much he's lost, and the shit's gone down. And then Sizer goes down to normal size, and his dad... Inferno sees he's alive, and you have like the real heart-wrenching moment of this comic when he says, "You did good." And he's affectionate, and he's like son or something like that. He acknowledges that maybe he is a father, and you went 12 issues to see a little humanity, Inferno. And Sizer's like, Daddy loves me, and it's so corny, but it's really like interesting. And
Side note, Claudio Sanchez has a side project called The Prize Fighter Inferno, which is a lot more acoustic, but it is all to do with the backstory of Jesse. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's awesome they did that. This song's fun. It is like a little bunch of... It's kind of like a mini version of their progression where it's a lot of little riffs strung together to create the whole thing. But it's catchy. It's hooky.
Tons of hooks.
Catchy.
You're going to have
like
Good Eye, Sniper, just like stuck in your fucking...
You run.
The words you scribbled on. It gets stuck in your head.
That falsetto,
And
starring Behind That Suit.
Yeah. Watch, in a few years I'll have something that doesn't sound like shit. And I just felt it was like a pretty good earworm. This is the earworm of the album, and I'm giving it that credit. I give it a 4.5. It's not as good as some of the longer, more powerful songs, but it is a really fun track.
It's one of my favorite songs on the record, 5 on 5.
It's catchy, very, very catchy.
You
But
got,
I liked it. I actually liked it.
yes.
4.5.
Oh my god!
It's the second one she's given.
Oh my.
It's the second
Did
4.
you give another 4.5?
She did. She gave
I
out
did
4.5. Remember?
seconds for the secrets thing.
Yeah. So.
Keeping of some...
Colon 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been thinking about this for days, and I've been really excited to talk about this comic. I mean, album. Yeah, I don't have more on this one.
The light and the glass.
The light and the glass is kind of ambiguous. It has reflection in it. You're not sure who it's about, which one of these characters is lamenting. We can go with Claudio lamenting, but he hasn't done enough to lament yet, so I'm not really sure.
Could be Wilhelm Ryan.
Maybe, but slowly the pen touches paper, and the guidance of the words you write, memories roll in the things you once did and who you shared them with. Is somebody thinking of you? Did I bother telling you this with the words that cross teeth and jump? Anyway, sure.
There is another possibility, which is not referenced in the comics. It could be the writer, who is a character who comes in, who is God, who created the universe, who is essentially Claudio outside of this universe,
Right.
who's a character in the universe. It gets really stupid meta.
That's awesome. But like you have lines like your father's dead, he passed in his sleep, and I woke to the sounds of her crying. Like it's just without knowing the full lore, it is so hard to even take a guess personally at who it's about.
But the thing is too is that he does work in personal feelings into these songs and into these stories. So this song could be very personal to him.
And it's sad. There's a lot of pensive remorse. So like there's regret. It's not clear about who it's about. It is 9 minutes of like background elevator music to me. It is not that it's poorly composed, but the rest of this album had this engaging energy that made me captivated. Like it made me excited. Like I wanted to listen to it. Now this song is the last song.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's the come down. It's that. It fits the story feel of the album, like pensive after all this battle-y shit and all the killer and stuff. I get the role. But like I give it a 4.25 because I recognize how well done the song is for what it is. But like when I would go through the album and I would kind of get here, this is when my focus would kind of wane a little bit, and it was a little bit harder to like enjoy this song.
Yeah, generally when those opening notes start playing, I press skip. When I don't, I'm not mad. I like the song.
Yeah.
But I'm never like, I want to listen to The Light in the Glass now.
It's just very long.
It's really
Very
long.
slow.
It is
It's just
9
kinda sad, and it
minutes
just
plus.
brings down, like, it's just the opposite of everything.
And again, it is unabashedly progressive, so it does get heavier, it does get bigger. There's a lot more gain that happens, but at the same time,
Heavier is a stretch.
it gets louder.
It's
I
relatively
feel like
heavier.
it's like, oh, there's the sad song of the album, okay. Like, because a
But
lot
it's
of them
really,
have that.
I'm not trying to be like negative. It's just this one, it felt like the end credits. I mean,
Yeah.
in that regard, it really fits the album.
But you stay for the post-credit scene,
Yeah.
which happens next.
So I don't have a lot more here. So what I give is 4.25.
This is my 4 on 5.
This is 4.
All right.
This-
So then there are 11 songs called A Whole Lot of Nothing that there's not that much to talk about because they're just whatever. And then we have 2113. The noteworthy thing to me is they released a 24-track album apparently in the original CD version. I don't know this is true. This is what the internet told me.
It's probably true.
And so track 11 is The Light in the Glass, and then there are literally 11 songs that are nothing. And when I found the copy of the torrent of the album, it had all these A Whole Lot of Nothing songs. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is so fucking weird. And then I found this out after, and I'm like, oh shit, eh? And literally, there's 0 seconds. There's nothing on these files. It's just like...
I've never been able to confirm this, but I think it's a Korn tribute because Follow the Leader starts with 11 tracks of nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The first 11 or 12 tracks even maybe of Follow the Leader are each 5 seconds of total silence, and then It's On kicks in
Okay.
at like track 13.
I will look at that.
I'm gonna check that out. That's interesting. Now, obviously, Spotify and things like that,
Have
probably
changed
I'm
this.
not gonna show it.
Yeah.
You're talking about like the disc and would have been, but then you got to track 24. So you got to imagine how many people just said fuck that and didn't even get to track 24 unless you had it in your computer and saw the full time. And then you get to track 24, which is 2113,
Which again, I think is a reference to 2112. It also makes sense to the story.
So yeah, when the clock reads 2113, all work will stop and the ground will relieve. This is allegedly about Coheed killing the twins in the past story.
It happened in the previous album.
So it's
the
just-
second stage, Turbine Blade.
Yes, and so yeah, it's fine enough. I mean, there's interesting lyrics like "In our sleep, there's nothing to this nightmare. Will she beg for your mercy? Slowly but sure, I'm hoping what comes is the absence of love at night. Blah blah blah. She'll kick and she'll fight. And, like comes in and it's kind of like it's more like upbeat than the previous one. It's got a little more energy to it, a little more whatever. It's still 9 fucking minutes, and it's kind of like knowing what it's about or not. It's still kind of bland. It's one of those. Sorry, lyrically bland, but while charged
Mom.
with like some emotions going on in the way he delivers it, he does what he does as well as he's done it on all the other ones. But I mean, it's a bonus track is how I'm gonna look at it, and it feels like a bonus track. It feels like the extra scene that was cut from the movie, and it feels like
if you're a Marvel fan, it feels like the post-credit scene.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like it was over,
but
it was interesting.
As much as I do not care about the lyrics of this song at all, I love the sound of this song because this is the closer I wanted the other one to be, because this is 9 minutes of excellent background music. Like, I give this a 5. Why? Because it's 9 minutes of excellent composed stuff, and lyrically it's fine, right? Like, it's just I can't get excited like I did about the comic because I didn't read this comic, so the story that it's talking about doesn't mean as much to me. But
I give it a 4, just because I love listening to this song, but I can never remember it after it's done.
I get that. I don't know. Maybe a 5 is a stretch. I'll call it a 4.5.
4.5.
4.75.
But it is really look. It's really a great 9-minute experience that is just perfect at the end of this album. And so for what it is, I'm down with it. I'm okay with it.
4.13.
Is that what you're giving it?
I get it.
Give me an.
I get it. I get it. It's pretty good.
It would be 4.3.
No,
if you're adding them all together.
You're no fun. You're no fun.
2, 1, 1.
You're just not fun, Syd.
I'm just
all right.
Math.
So
don't math.
Anyway, so math is fun. Math is awesome.
Please,
so,
Mom.
I guess that's it then. That's all the songs that we're gonna talk about today.
Did you say things?
Did you want to say things?
It's cool.
I
said things throughout.
I think she said
4.13.
Oh, that's your actual grade.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the song's like 23,
so
13 or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I got that. Did you have more things to say?
No.
That's what I thought. Not to. Anyway, so yeah, we're done. Now we're gonna do the part where we talk about the album as a whole, quick. For those of you who just show up here, because I know some of you just cut to the end to see the final grade. I get this project a 4.49. I was not expecting to enjoy this. I run an average. I hit the average. I write the average. I wasn't expecting to dig this so much. I was expecting, because I saw them live. I didn't necessarily enjoy that live performance, but they were also at the Bell Center, which is our giant stadium, and I don't think they were ready stage presence wise to handle that kind of a crowd at that point in their career. You got the sense that they were nervous. They didn't even have proper, they didn't fully understand how to place themselves on the stage, or you could just see that.
I mean, they're not a stadium band. They shouldn't be a stadium band. I've never seen them at a stadium. I've seen them at festivals, and I've seen them at smaller venues, and it's great.
And I saw them opening for Linkin Park at a stadium. And I think Chiodos was the other band.
Oh.
And so you can just see, it was a weird set.
That doesn't make any sense.
Opening for Linkin Park at that venue must have been strange, because the whole crowd was not there for them. They were there for Linkin Park, and it was a little strange. So that was my first experience. And then we did this whole comic album experience here, and my mind is fucking blowing. I love the fact that there's just a lot of musical meat on this album more than anything else. And the lyrics, weirdly enough, make total sense if you've read the comic, but otherwise are fucking nonsense.
And even then. There are moments that are still,
it's still, it's just so fun. It almost, the whole experience is enjoyable. As far as reviewing albums goes, I had a lot more fun doing this one than I've had in a lot of better projects, we'll say. There are better albums I've had less fun dealing with, is I guess where I'm going with.
This isn't even my favorite Coheed and Cambria record.
That's fine.
It's not even close to my favorite Coheed and Cambria record. But I love this record for what it is. It's a moment in time. It's a moment in prog history. This is a band, I think this is the first band that ever took pop punk and infused that sense of simplicity to progressive, complicated, ridiculous song structures. And no other prog band, as far as I'm concerned, has this many hooks in their music. And to hear them developing that on this record is just so cool. This one is a 4.4 for me.
So Syd likes it for the anthropological experience.
Exactly.
And you?
Again, outsider, so don't judge me here.
Judge.
Not you got that. viewers.
They're not judging.
Yeah. But I would give it between like a 4.5 and a 5, somewhere in between there, because I think it's.
You gave every song a 4.
No,
she
but
gave
I
every
think
song a
it's-
4 but 2, so mathematically
I
she's
think
at like 4.1 here.
The
Yeah, but she's giving between
concept.
4.5 on 5. Listen,
Let
the
her explain.
concept.
is fantastic.
Cool.
And I think I think it's well everything's well written and well
Put together.
there. Yeah, I was gonna say portrayed, but that's the wrong word. But well
Yeah.
expressed, and it's something that I need to give more time, and I'm pretty sure when I give it more time, it will grow on me. So,
That's
yeah.
fair. But
a good
even to
album.
that end, I will agree with Syd. A 4.525 on an album you gave 4 is a little weird, but you're allowed, right? Because that's the world we're in.
4.75.
Everyone's entitled to their shit and whatnot.
We live in Canada.
That's true. We do.
All
live in
is
Canada.
fair.
Nice.
So yeah, thank y'all for watching. We very much appreciate it. Let us know what kind of content you want to see, like albums you want to see us cover in the future. We're trying to go with some older stuff for a while. What are your favorites from like the 90s, 2000s life? We do have the Patreon, like I said, with the request raffle. So if you want to pick that obscure bullshit that we might never do otherwise, that's a great option for you.
Or you could request another Coheed record.
You could, but if you really want to see us do it, Patreon will force my hand, is all I'm trying to say. And then, anyway, just thank you. We really appreciate it. We want to hear your feedback. If you do like the video, feel free to like it, hit the subscribe and all that. I totally get it if you don't, but we're awesome if you give us a chance or give me a chance. They're pretty cool. I'm a bit of a shit, and we'll grow together.
Sit down. Be humble.
Yeah,
Bitch,
working on
sit
it.
down.
Working on it. Thank you all again. I'm just going to ramble for a while. Now it's my turn. So thanks. Have a great day. Peace. You're awesome.
Thanks, guys.